on every show, there's like a huge team. There's like assistants, and there's an associate director who's like my other half, there's my producer, and there's a stage manager, and there's like all these designers, and everybody. I work super collaboratively, so it's almost like my rehearsals are super kind of chaotic because everybody's kind of talking at once, and everybody is allowed to say stuff, and it's like, and I'm sort of more of the catalyst or the conduit than I am the person who's just like giving everybody orders. And we find people, I mean, some of them are fans who said, like, I'd like to work for your company, and then some of them are people like we knew who worked with other companies who are friends of ours, and you know, they're really the key to everything. Like, there's no way I could pull these shows off without this huge, you know, and I am a dramaturg who's also really, you know, and so it's almost like the shows are so difficult to pull off that there's no way I'd be able to do them on my own. Like, I'm just not smart enough. But when you've got 20 people in the room and they're all super smart, then that, you know, even then it's really hard for us to pull it off. I have no idea how theater even gets made at all, just because it's so difficult, you know. But yeah, I definitely like work on the principle of my brain is never going to be enough to like make anything that I want to make.
There's, like, in your plays, there seems to, the ones that I've read, there always seems to be this moment where you just get fed up and you sabotage it very directly. Like, the White People or Big Bird. Like, why that particular culmination? Like, why is there always like one like final stab where you just like, this is gonna go crazy?
You know, it's weird. It's the best metaphor I can think of is I remember when I was growing up and I was playing, one of my friends had a Barbie dream house, and we would play Barbies in the house, and I remember like, you know, at a certain point, we would be playing Barbies and we would set it all up and everything would be going along as planned, and at a certain point we would just get so bored with our game, and then Barbie would, like, you know, drown herself in the toilet, or like, you know, we'd throw her off the balcony or something like that, and I feel like that's sort of the impulse in a way, you know, it's like this kind of impatience with I don't know, it's almost about like the inadequacy of, it's hard to describe the feeling, but it really is like, it's like you're going, and it's like what you're doing is somehow inadequate to contain the problem, you know, and so you kind of want to destroy it in a way and see if something else opens up.
Audience development. I guess my question is that, you know, as artists, we kind of grow outside our community, right? And so how do you target the Asian community? Like, I like to target the Black community. I like to target the women's community. I like to target, you know, tech heads, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like my community, right? So, but in Austin, I haven't found a community, you know? So I'm trying to understand, like, how do you target the Asian community? Like, do you want them to come to your shows? Or is that like, okay, whoever shows up, they loving me, that's cool? Or do you actually try to go after, like, I want to see my people in the audience?
Well, it depends on the show. Like, for the Asian show, I was like, I want Asian people in that audience, you know? And for the Shipment, it was definitely like, we want Black people in that audience, and so we were really aggressive. I mean, honestly, like, you can do, I mean, the one thing that I found that's effective is just giving away free tickets. You know, like, giving away free tickets, you know? And it's like, you really have, but in order to give away free tickets, like, you have to be able to, like, justify it to the funder, you know what I mean? Like, you have to make a case for, you know, because it's actually, like, audience cultivation is a huge amount of work, you know? And there's, like, a lot of theaters, like, have to have, like, the bigger theaters will have, like, an entire team just for that, you know? And in a smaller infrastructure, like, it's really difficult to, like, find, because to get people to come to shows, to the theater, it's really, really hard, you know, especially if they're not theater going. So, I mean, you know, it's like what my own company has found is that, you know, like, we will target, like, if it's like a race-specific show, we'll target that audience, but otherwise, it's like, you know, for the show that I'm doing now, there's no way I'd be able to convince the theater. Like, you really need to like give away all these free tickets and lose money so that black people can come see this show that has nothing to do with specifically.
Why does it have to be tickets given away to black people? See, this is what I guess my concept and when I'm asking this question is, as a programmer, for me, it's really difficult trying to segregate audiences. For me, it's very natural to cross-section and cross-promote across all audiences.
Yes.
And I'm seeing that the more and more I try to program is that people want it to be specific to black people or Asian people or gay people or this people or that people. And there's no like cross-pollination. And I'm thinking as artists, how do we get to the point where we stop the funders or stop the organization from being so Pacific? How do we say it's not Pacific? Like, I'm not Pacific. I'm not black all the time.
Right.
I'm not up about, I can't wash it off. It doesn't go anywhere, right? So that's like, you know, but in my psyche of what people think black is, what they think that is, and what they think we like, and what they think we want, in women, and what we want, and what they think we want. Women want all sad shows, so we're going to program all sad shows.
Right.
As a company owner and as an artist and as somebody that's outside, maybe outside of the box of your own microcosm, I'm just trying to understand, like, how do we start joining communities? Now we're in year 2011. How do we start joining communities and start saying that they're so segregated? Or that's segregated. I mean, that might be a big question.
Well, you know, I feel like for me, you know, that's always like one of the biggest issues, you know, like in terms of like how to get, I mean, because for me, it's like I want diversity in my audiences, but, and I think my audiences do tend to be diverse because people who liked the Shipment will then come to see, you know, people who liked my Asian play will come to see this other play, but I mean, in general, I just find that like, in some ways, it's like, you know, what we were talking about like if you're an Asian American playwright, then you're in this Asian American scene, and Asian Americans go to see those plays, and it's very much, you know, like, but it's like that's sort of what the system is set up for, and I feel like the system that I'm set up for some reason, mostly only white people come. So if you want people who aren't white to come, you have to somehow reach out to, I mean, you have to somehow, I mean, I get plenty of like queer people in my audiences, like I never have to target to them, but for racial diversity, for some reason, and I don't know why it is, for the kind of theater that I do, you do have to actually target those groups in order to get them to come. And I don't know what the answer is. Like I don't know how to make more Asian people want to see my kind of theater, you know, other than
be accepted into the theater, first of all. They have to feel like they're being accepted.
Right, that's a good, but
so if they don't feel like they're being accepted, or any group that's marginalized, whatever that may be.
Right.
Because it could change on it depending on the show. Who's marginalized or who's not, right? Whoever feels accepted to come into the space, I think that's what the key is. But that isn't up to us as artists. We're as open as we can be, right? Right. As we can be, you know. And then it's up to the organizers of the organization to say, okay, well, we need to open up. But then it gets back again to money and it gets back again to funding, right?
Yeah, it's something that upsets me a lot, actually. You know, and people have said to me about the Shipment, oh, well, you know, your audiences are so white that this is in some ways a show for white audiences, you know? And the cast and
I understand. Yeah.
And so the cast and I like talked about this all the time, and we were like, okay, well, what are we gonna do about the fact that all these like, you know, it's like, you know, my audiences like are really white, you know, and so we were like, how are we gonna deal with this? And they were like, well, we don't want the show to just be targeted for white people, like we wanted, you know, and so they were very careful the whole time through to be like, okay, you know, like let's always think about like the Black audience members and stuff like